Hi friends. The first part of this video that you're watching didn't record. I must not have pushed the button when I thought I did. So I'm going to explain to you what I am doing and it'll just kind of fall back into place. So I am going to paint book pages with watercolors. So what I did is last time I went to Michael's, my friend Shemi here on YouTube, she actually is the one that showed me this in a YouTube video, and I will link her video below in the description. I learned this from her because she did a video on it, and I thought that it looked like a lot of fun and her results are really cool, so I wanted to try it myself. But the watercolors that she used had a lot more colors in it than just my Crayola, and she got it at Michael's. So the last time I was there, I went ahead and got a set of these, and they are Artist Loft. They are $5.99 for the set. And this is the first time that I used them, and I really like them. The pans are really small and they do absorb a lot of water. So I don't think that they're going to last a really long time. But for the most part, I really liked them. They are really opaque. I really like the colors. They're really easy to work with. The results, they come out really chalky, and as you guys know, I like that chalky look. So I think these are a keeper for the price. I don't think that you can go wrong. Now another thing that you're going to miss me talking about, because I didn't hit the record button, that I want to mention is that brushes. Now I don't necessarily, these are basically made for kids. They're cheap sets and they're really made for kids. But of course, you know, when you don't have a whole lot of money, you just don't have the money to spend on really quality, or at least I don't. Sorry, I'm yawning. Watercolor sets. And I don't know the difference because I've never had quality watercolor sets. I'm not schooled in watercolors, so these are just perfectly fine for me. So, but I don't like the brushes that come with it. This came with a brush, this brush. I didn't try it. I mean, I don't know what kind of a brush it is, but typically, I mean, I think it's better than the Crayola one, but it's really soft, as you can see. And the one thing that I learned from Cinnamon Cooney here on YouTube, she paints. I'm sure you guys have heard of her. She mainly does acrylic paints, but she does do some watercolor paints. Regardless, she's just a very talented lady, and I've learned a lot from watching her. One of the tips that I learned from her is when you buy brushes, you don't typically want to buy these really soft brushes. One of the things that I always remember her saying is that these soft brushes you buy to apply makeup. You don't buy these to paint with. Okay, so every brush that I've ever bought is like that. It's soft. I thought, ooh, it's nice and soft. That's a good brush. That's not necessarily the case. You don't want these soft brushes. You want something that is stout, something that holds up to water. These soft brushes fold over on themselves when you get them wet, and they're really hard to paint with. My favorite brush to watercolor with, it's in my water here, and these are cheap brushes. These ones with the blue handles, I got in a set, just in a cheap set. I think they were like $7.99, and I got this whole big set. There's more of them than just what I have out. I have them in a big mason jar up on my shelf, but I've only used 3 or 4 of these out of the set. I like these ones because the handles seem to be a plastic, so when you put them in the water, the paint doesn't chip off. Unlike this set, this red set I got in a set, see how the paint has chipped off of these brushes just from being in the water. And I haven't necessarily let them soak in the water for long periods of time. The paint has just come off of them. So that's kind of annoying. So I like these. For a cheap set, I like these. But my favorite brush is this one here, and it's a 0. If that means anything to you. I guess it's the size of the brush, but see how dainty the tip is and how pointy it is? And it's pointy, like it does. It's really nice to line in, and I like to just paint with it. Especially when I'm doing ATCs. Everything that I paint mainly is little. So this is my go-to brush. So anyways, when you buy brushes, don't buy soft brushes. Buy brushes that have some firmness to them. So I'm going to spray this with water. And I'm just going to use my cheapy Dollar Tree spray bottle, but I'm going to take it away from my desk because I've got a lot of things sitting here that I don't want to spray, and my computer's also sitting here. So I'm just going to take it off to the side and get this wet. It's a cheap bottle, so I have to work at squeezing it. And plus it's running out of water. Okay. Now these paints soak up a lot of water, so throughout your painting it's going to continue to dry, especially if it's your first time painting with them. I really had to continue to add water to it. My water's mucky because I've been painting all day, and I've actually even changed it a couple of times. So I've already done this, and I've already filmed the majority of this video, but just for demonstration purposes so that you can get what I was doing, I'm going to go ahead and start. Now the first paper that you're not going to see me finish, I was doing tiny lines because I wanted to do a background, which I ended up not using because I discovered something else, which you will see in this video, and I used that background for the image that I was making this for. But all I did is I took my tiny little fine brush and I made lines. I'm just going to make lines on my paper. I love all of the pinks and purples that you get with this paper, or with this paint set. One thing that I did learn that you're not going to see in this video, but I'm going to tell you now, is if you wet your paper first, your paints will go much further. And you'll get more of that watercolor effect if that's what you're going for. Now, if that's not what you're going for, you don't necessarily need to do that. And you'll see in the rest of this video that I did not do that. I actually wet it after the fact. I clean my brush if I'm changing colors because I don't want to transfer color onto my paint in my hands, because then your colors don't stay true in there. You change the color of them. And so I just started to edit this video, and I don't know how much of it is gonna not be there now, so I'll try to edit it the best that I can. So see, that's all we're gonna do. And you can use different size brushes. So if I want to make my lines a lot bigger, then I would just simply change the size of my brush. Okay, isn't that cool? Honestly, I could sit here and do this all day long. I love the effect of it. I don't know why I'm having so much problems making sure my computer's turned on. See, that got a little bit too much water in there, but you can kind of wipe it down, and who cares, it's watercolor. just so cool to watch the colors kind of merge together. I had a lot of purple paint on that, so I'm just wiping it, getting it wiped off. I'm going to add some green with the big brush. Okay, and you just go all the way down your page, which you'll see in the remainder of this video. And like I said, the reason why I did this with the Artist Loft paints is because there's more colors in it. And I wanted to try them out. I love the Crayola watercolors, but this set offered more colors. Okay, so I'm gonna just go from here and let the video do the rest for me. But I wanted to do an introduction and kind of explain the paint, the brushes, and the things that I didn't get recorded on that first one. And let me show you what I used, what I did with the papers and the cards that I was making in this video. I'll just show them to you now. So these are some of the ATCs that I created with the paper that I made in this video. So there she is. Let me try to get her in my tiny frame since I'm zoomed. So there's one of the papers that I made in this video. And then you'll see how I did this paper during this video. And then this one is pretty much the same. It's a different card, but it came off the same book page. Okay, and then you'll see me make these two cards. I can't twist my hand that way. Here, let me hold them like this. You'll see me make these two cards in this video. All right, and then one of the papers I already cut up. But these are the three papers that this is the one that I started to make that the video totally cut off. So that's one of them. And then I believe you'll see me make most of this one, if not all of it. Okay, and then you'll see me make this one. All right, guys. So the video will play out now. Okay. You don't have to be this precise with your lines, and I'll show y'all that I can do things without being precise. I can do it on the next one. Sometimes I just like to be nice and tidy. And you don't have to cover the whole page. You can keep some of that, some of the book pages open. Don't have to cover it all, so let's do it thick. See, this brush is folding over on itself, which really pretty much drives me nuts. So we'll do these in yellow. Jello. And this one. You could cut off where there's no text if that was your preference, but I guess I'll just do the whole thing. Why waste it? Okay, and then I think I'll do let's pick another blue. I think I'll do this lighter blue. Kind of a looks bluish green. It's like a baby blue on the pan. Okay, so you could leave it like that, and then you could go back in with your gel markers if you wanted and do some doodles on it, or you could go back in with more watercolors and add, you know, some doodles or whatever you want. You don't have to stop here, you could keep going. You could add some splatters to it. Let me see if that package came with a fan brush. So this is my jar of brushes. I don't think it did. That's one thing that I need to get is a fan brush. Because that is the best way to splatter paint. This might be a good splatter alternative. I'm going to keep that out just because you never know. You could then use some sprays. I mixed up this white metallic acrylic paint and water. And this was just a body splash body spray bottle. So I can mist it with this to give it some shine, and then it will further mix up those watercolors. See how it's kind of bleeding them over onto each other? Okay, I think that's going to look really cool. I'm going to turn this on. Okay, and you guys know how I feel about this crunchy painted book paper. I just love it. Look at what the water did to it. I love what the water did to this. This doesn't really have, I think I probably should have put more paint in this when I mixed it up. But regardless, I love what the water did to it. It does have, you probably can't see it, but it does have some speckles of glitter in it. I will take some pictures of this and put it at the end of the video so that you can hopefully pick up the sparkles. I know the video probably isn't going to pick it up. I don't know if I can get the light to hit it right on it. But you guys, look how gorgeous. Look how gorgeous. And even the back is cool. Don't you love this technique? You can't buy this in a store, and look how inexpensive this is. I got the book for $1 at the Dollar Tree. The paints costed me $5.99. If you use a coupon for it, you can get it for a couple of bucks. And look at the results. You can't get this in a store. You can have fun making it, and all you're doing is painting lines on a paper. It's incredible what you can do yourself. And it's so fun to do. Okay. It's just amazing. It's just amazing what you can do yourself. You don't have to buy this stuff in a store. That's what's so great about crafting. is you don't have to go and spend a lot of money on this stuff. You can just sit in the comfort of your own home, save yourself some money, and make it yourself, and admire it. Admire your work when you make this stuff. Take pride in it. Own it. You know what I mean? This is creating. This is why I make most of my own stuff, because this is what creating is to me. It's not going to a store and buying a bunch of already made stuff. You know, that's okay to do too, but using your mind and making your own creations is so important to do as well. It just brings so much joy to your life. It helps you create in other aspects of your life. It gives you confidence. It gets your brain working. It helps you in so many different aspects of the rest of your life. It keeps your mind fresh. Clears your mind from all the goobly gook that's in there from everyday life. It doesn't have to be perfect either. Mine doesn't have to look like yours, and yours doesn't have to look like mine. There is no perfection in art. You create it. That is the perfection. The perfection is in creation. Just like God's creation. There is perfection in creation. Okay, so this one looks completely different. I mean, obviously I'm not done yet, but... And I don't like this one as much as I like the solid lines. But I'm trying to do something different. And I won't know what this is going to look like until I try it. And I might not like it, and if I don't like it, I probably won't do it again. But I won't know until I try. I do that a lot. I'll try something. Like this one tag that I made. I don't even know what I did with it. It's not really a tag, it's an embellishment. I made this the other night. This is something totally off that I typically wouldn't even try to create, right? It's not my style at all. I made it and I don't like it. It's just not me. It's not something that I like, and I didn't know what else to do to it to make it appealing to me, so I put it aside. But I guarantee you when the girls come home and they see it, one of them's gonna want it. So I save it. I give it to somebody that likes it, that's gonna want it. You know, I tried, and just because I don't like it doesn't mean that somebody else won't like it. This might actually look cool once I spray some water on it and it all kind of melds together, but I like the stripes. But I'm not a real abstract kind of person. I'm not really into abstract art. Like those cat ATCs that I made, I didn't really like those. It wasn't my favorite. And I only made 3 of them. And those cards went when I posted them on the Facebook page where I trade my ATCs. Those went, and people were saying, "Do you have any more of those?" And those were my least favorite. But see, other people saw beauty in those and liked those when those were like one of my least favorite cards that I made. So don't ever underestimate your art. Just because you don't particularly like it doesn't mean that other people, won't like it as well. There's always value in it. Just because you don't hold value in it doesn't mean that others won't. I know I say that a lot. I know that I, get on this soapbox of, saying that kind of stuff a lot, but I think that people need to hear that, because I think that we're so hard on ourselves when we make things. I see it over and over when people post things on their creations, on their artwork, and they're just so critical, or they don't want to post it because they don't think that it's going to be good enough. And I understand it. I understand why people feel that way, but I want people to get over that and build a confidence, because when you have the confidence in yourself, you get rid of that blockage, and then you're able to move forward, and you kind of set that creative block aside, and then it's amazing what you're able to do, not just in creating things, but in your everyday life. It builds confidence. You have to have confidence in yourself, and then that spills over into your everyday life. And then if you have confidence and that confidence comes through, then the people around you will have confidence. And most importantly, if you are around children, not just raising children, not if it's just your children, but if you're a grandparent or an aunt or a sister or a brother, whatever, then that younger generation is going to see that confidence that you have, and that's going to spill over into them, and they're going to be able to build that confidence. So it's not just a benefit to you, it's also a benefit to the younger generation that you're around. So let it go, just let it go. When I look at other people's art, of course I see things that aren't appealing to me. But I try to not so much analyze it. I don't ever try to analyze it, but I guess what I'm trying to say is I look at it like, I wonder what they were thinking when they were doing that. Like, what was going through their mind when they were creating that? Because obviously some people's art isn't something that is attractive to me, is what I should say. Like I see, and I'm not picking on anybody in particular, but there are people that like create a lot of ATC cards that have like slasher things on them, blood and guts and pictures of people, with bloody axes and bloody faces and stuff, and I'm not attracted to that at all. Some people are, and that's okay. That's what art is to them, or that's the kind of art that they want to create. I'm not attracted to that, and that's just not what style of art I'm in. And so when I look at those pieces, I don't stick my nose up to it at all. I look at it and I think, I wonder what they're thinking. You know, I'm also not into fantasy shows like that, like Dexter and you know, any of those kind of violent shows. However, I am very much into like ID television, like true crime stories, because I'm into the psychology of it, because I've all the things that they do, but I'm not into the fantasy part, the makeup psychology of it, the slasher type stuff. I used to be. I used to really be into like the horror movies and stuff when I was younger, but not anymore. I think that so much of that kind of stuff has brought our society to where it is. Hollywood, I think, is to blame for so much of where our world is today, the fantasy becoming reality. You know what I mean? People don't have a grip of reality anymore. And so I think that a lot of that the violence that we see on TV and we see in film has brought us to the reality. People have a hard time differentiating between real life and reality. And I think that it has taken a toll on our society and our younger generations. And I think that that's where we are today. And the lack of God, obviously, in society. But I think that's why I don't like that kind of art, because I think that it damages the minds of the young generation. But nonetheless, that's what I think about when I see that kind of artwork. I'm like, I wonder what they were thinking when they made that. And then after you get to know some of the people that create that, they're not like that. You know what I mean? It's just odd. Like I said, I'm just into the psychology of it, trying to get into the minds, trying to get into the mind of people, trying to figure out where they're at. I've always been into that kind of stuff. So I'm just playing here. I'm just adding things to liven this up a bit. Starting to like it more. It's still not really my style, so I'm out of my comfort zone. It's not causing me anxiety or anything. It's not my favorite. But I'm going to finish it. You know, and if I don't use it, I'll send it to somebody. Or maybe they'll use it in something. You'd still do a lot with this. You could add some black lines to it. My paint's getting pretty dry. This paint really soaks up the water. It's really drying out quickly. Oh, and I heard back right away about my fine liner glue bottle. Right away. He emailed me back and he is sending me a new tip. He said I may have had a leak somewhere within the bottle itself. He's never seen that happen before, but he is more than willing to send me a new tip. He gave me some suggestions on how to make sure that everything was tight. Very, very nice man. I think he actually is the creator of it, and I was very, very pleased with the customer service. Got back to me right away, the owner of the company. He said that he's sending me a new package. So yeah, I'm thrilled. I couldn't be happier with the customer service. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take this mist. Okay, I always shake it up really well because that metallic will sit at the bottom. So you want to shake it until there's nothing sitting on the bottom. I'm gonna mist this, and hopefully my colors will bleed like it did on that other paper, which it should. This isn't the best sprayer. Okay, what I've done is I've loaded this brush up, get it in frame, with some yellow watercolor paint, and I'm going to go over the top of this. I'm going to spread this. Just one swift swipe. One swift swipe, say that 10 times. Okay, it's getting dry, so I'm going to squirt over here. And I'm going to run that color. I don't want to turn it to mud, but like right there, my dots didn't run. Okay, put that in the water. I'm going to dry it. Okay, it's pretty, but it looks kind of dull to me. So I'm going to take this homemade metallic mist that I made, and I'm going to spray this on top of it. And let's see what that does. Okay, I like it. Kind of gave it a little hint of blue. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush. You know what? No, I'm not going to take that brush. I'm going to get my white paint pen. This is just one of those Deco Color Duos. I'm going to shake it. Gotta shake these really well. I'm going to wipe it because it's got that liquidy separated paint on it. I'm going to let it bleed like that, and then I'm going to tap it. And this works really super good as splatters. I don't necessarily like these pens to write with because the paint seems so liquidy in it, but I love to splatter with these things. By the way, I got these at Tuesday morning. Okay. What do you guys think? So I got that one, and I've got this one, and then I'll finish this one for my little fairy girls. I don't know what I did with her. Hopefully I put her up and she's not drenched in water somewhere. Now here she is. I think that she'll look really cute on that. All right. So the next thing I'm gonna do is see, I should have put her up. I'm gonna put her fur away. She was kind of challenging to cut, especially last night when the lights were dim. I made these last night out of book pages. They're cute. I don't know what I can't really put them on ATCs because they're pretty dimensional. Focus camera. But they're really pretty. I'm going to cut this book paper down. Find one with full sheets. But to turn this the right way and push you guys back out. Getting better with that camera action, don't you think? I'm going to take the edges off of this one. So I'm going to cut these down into ATC size. I need a new blade for my Fiskars cutter thing here. It's only sharp on that one side, so I can only, I mean, it comes out, I could turn it over, but only one side of the blade is sharp, so. I'm going to cut a little bit more. I'm only going to be able to get one ATC or two ATCs out of this, so I might as well cut it to where the text is going to show all through it. So 2.5. I think I'll go this way, 2.5. And then I should be able to get 2 ATCs out of this. 3.5. Oh, come on, give me 2. Oh, and 3.5. Perfect. So I think what I'm going to do is, this is Dear Poppy. Attempt to flower here. So actually I'm going to give it a background first. So let's take the big brush, and I don't want a dark background. I want it to be fairly light. So let's just do this. Give it some sky blue. It's pulling some paint off of my drop paper. That's okay. Let's just do both while I got blue on my brush. You could also use your ink pads if you don't want to watercolor. Okay, and I think I'll take some of this darker blue. Go around the edges. Got really dark over there. bit an edge. I'm going to spritz it with this just to kind of bleed those together. Now this is soppy. My bottle's gonna clog. Of course it's gonna do it when I'm on camera. Happens. It happens. I just want that to kind of bleed in and blend in together. Okay, and then it's important to lift this up or it's going to stick, because this is very wet at this point. Why use watercolor paper, right, when you have book pages for next to nothing? That's what I say. I'm going to hold this in my hand, but when you guys do this, please be careful. Okay, it's mostly dry. Okay, I've got to do this to where I feel the most comfortable at painting. So I'm just going to freehand my flower. I really want to build my confidence up enough to start drawing on ATCs, because I can draw. I'm not a terrible artist. I'm just not real confident in my abilities to do it. So that is one thing that I need to be more confident about. So I am going to work on doing more sketches offline so that I can feel more comfortable, more confident in my ability to do it on screen. I have been working on faces. That's probably the hardest part for a lot of people, are faces. And I'm hoping that I can take some online classes on faces, painting faces. It's just going to be time consuming, but maybe this winter. Because I think that it's important. If drawing, sometimes drawing comes natural to some people, and it really doesn't for me. I really think that I need to take some classes in order to be good at it, and so that's something that I really want to be able to do. I think I want to use this dark pink burgundy-ish fuchsia color. I think I'm going to go on the outside of this. I love this brush. It's so nice for outlining. My paints are pretty dry. I need to add some water, but I don't want to spray the whole pan. Let me see if I can just squirt some in that color. I don't know what else to talk about, you guys. I know that most of you don't like me to fast forward and do music, and that's actually easier for me because that takes a lot of editing to add music to everything. But there's sometimes that I just don't have a whole lot to say. So let me know in the comments, do I have to talk or can I be silent? Especially when I'm painting. When I'm painting sometimes, or most often, I just like to be silent. I need to work on that video. Need to work on that video. On that video for you guys on how I search for images and how I print them. And I need to figure out how I'm going to do that screenshot stuff. And I want to do that today. But I really felt like watercoloring. So maybe this will get the watercoloring out of my system. So now I want to go in with this other color that's lighter. I can probably use a bigger brush. Ooh, that had some yellow paint in it. Let's clean it off. There we go. Now we won't be here for days. My sister-in-law she actually went to art school. She actually got her degree in art. And she's an amazing artist. But she went back to school. She wanted to, I think she initially wanted to be an art teacher. But she went back to school and finished her education in teaching. And she's now a teacher. She's teaching kindergarten right now in California. And but she's incredible. I wish she did art. She hasn't arted in a long time. It was so funny. I just wanted to try it. I saw some people do some ATCs with flowers on it, and I thought that they were really pretty. So not to copy them, but to kind of do my own little version of it. I thought I would give it a try. But I think, and I was thinking I would outline it in like a Sharpie marker, but while I've got the watercolors out, while I'm watercoloring, I'll just do it the same medium here. Try to keep my hands steady. I don't think I want to outline the petals because I like the darker outline, but I think I'm going to give where's your dots? This is still watercolor. I'm liking these watercolors. They seem very easy to control, which is awesome. I'm going to try to go in with some white. Let's see if we can get this white to produce some color here. That's going to be pretty. Give it some highlight on there. Oh, now I gotta clean my. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to figure out why my mom disapproved of everything. You know, I wonder if she was proud of anything. You know, even when I graduated college and stuff, I just don't ever remember a time where she said, "I'm proud of you." And that's one thing that I'm starting to realize about myself too, that I really need to start showing my own adult children and saying to them, "I'm proud of you," when they make me proud. I mean, obviously, if I'm not proud, like I'm not proud of my son because he's not showing his daughters what a father should be. So no, I'm not proud of him in that aspect. I think he's a hard worker, but he needs to support his children. You know, he's the one that chose to bring these girls into this world, and he needs to help support them. I mean, he can't put that all on me and my husband. So in that, I'm proud of him for being a hard worker, of course, but I'm not proud of him for not. I'm proud of my daughter. She's got beautiful children. But I don't know my daughter. I haven't spoken to her in 4 years. I'm not proud of the way that she treats me. You know, when she can be in a room with me and pretend and act like I'm not even there. No, I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of the way that she treats a lot of people. She's a lot like my older brother, actually. And I'm very proud of my middle son. He has turned his life around, and he's a hard-working person now, and he's taken very good care of his family. And I told him, you know, just the other day how proud I am of him, because he has come a long way in his life. But you know, our adult children need to hear that just as much as they need to hear it when they're younger. They need those words of confirmation from their parents always in their life. And that's something that I don't know if my brothers heard that from my mom, but I know I didn't. You know, our mom in our family didn't have a whole lot of affection growing up. I remember the first time my mom even said that she loved me. It was over the phone, and I was 18 or 19 years old, and I didn't know what to do. It was like the oddest feeling to me to hear my mom say, "I love you." Like, I didn't know what to do with it. It was such a hard thing to process in my head. I'm not saying she was never affectionate, because that wouldn't be true. There were times, like I remember as a little girl crawling in bed with her and her cuddling me when I was very little. But not that affectionate otherwise. And you know, that must have been the way that she was raised. You know, I'm not saying that it was false, because she learned that behavior. That behavior is definitely passed down generation to generation. And I pass that down to my kids too. You know, that's just what we do, sadly. You know, and I can feel that sometimes with my granddaughters, and but at least now I can catch myself. And they're very loving, and you know, that they come up, and you know what I mean? I'm not saying that I'm that way with them, but I don't know how to explain it. I'm much better with them, if that makes sense. It's not an intentional thing. Probably doing a really terrible job of explaining what I mean. I'm not standoffish with my granddaughters. Like, I still hug them all the time and kiss them and love on them, and But I could see where I would have the potential of not doing that if they weren't so loving. And it's hard to explain. I don't want you to think that I'm not affectionate towards them, because that's not the case. It's just something that I have to work out because it doesn't come natural to me. It's something that I've had to learn. Yeah. Okay, now they don't look so clean. I don't want them to look so clean and obnoxious. Sometimes this is why I silence I silence me out and play music, because I don't like what I had to say. I overexpose myself. And then I think that it's too negative, and I'm like, oh, they don't want to hear this. They don't want to be exposed to this. They want to just watch craft videos. So if I put this up, and this bothers you, let me know. The only way I'll know is if you tell me, because otherwise, I mean, I'm literally just sitting here talking to myself and posting this up later and seeing what your reaction is to this after it's already up. Like, I have no other way of knowing what your reaction is. It's nice to be able to talk and to get these things out of my head, because that helps through the process of it. And then to get your input and your advice and your comments are a great help to me. You know? You guys can be my bartenders. Okay, and then I'm going to put something on there. The hardest part for me, as you guys know, is to pick out a sentiment. So I'm going to do that off camera, because I could sit here forever trying to figure it out. So I'm going to end this video. I might spray this, actually. Is this going to work for me? Oh, come on. Come on. Guys, I think I'm clogged. Yeah, no, that's not going to work here. Let's see what just water does. One thing with watercolors they say is that if you get your paper wet first and then you add color to it, that you'll get that more dispersed look like that. So like if I wanted to add some color out here. Have this all bleed out. Oops, I ripped my pepper. Okay, you guys, I'm back. I took the part out where I discovered the technique where I created the background paper for this because I want to do a whole video on it. So I'm going to work on that video because it deserves a whole video of its own. And I don't know if this is a technique that somebody else has done, but I'll include the video where I discovered it, and I'm not going to search YouTube to see if somebody else came up with it because I'm just going to show you how I came up with it and go from there. But I want to do some more just to see how good it works, fully. I want to fully test it and see how good it turns out. But what it is it's kind of a ghost image off of this put onto this. And I'm going to show you how to do that in another video. But I wanted to end this video and say, I hope y'all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And God bless. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye-bye.